Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast. We're coming to you live from Cole Creative in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the founder and editor of NEPA Scene.
I'm John Popko. I work for Rock 107, ESPN Radio, and Alt 92.1, and I'm also the Saturday night host of Alt Natives on Alt 92.1.
And tonight we're here with three members of Silhouette Lies, Nick, Nicky, and Raph, who are reuniting this Friday for a huge 3-day benefit at the Keys in Scranton. If you tuned in last week, we did talk about that benefit extensively, so we're going to plug it today as well, but we have lots of other things to talk about. The history of this group and their legacy, their current bands, Dance Hall Devils and Luna Soltera. Raph joining the Texas music scene and how that kind of compares to what we have going on back home here. And much, much more. So we don't give it away, no spoilers. So we want you to join our conversation. We would love for you to ask questions and comments. Last week you guys were very active in the comment section, which we really appreciate. It also tells Facebook algorithms, the gods of Facebook, that you're interested and you like this, and it'll put it out to more people. So we'd love for you to add to our conversation tonight. So please leave those down below. We will get to your questions and comments later in the show. We're always looking out for them. So also we're live streaming on Periscope on Twitter. So if you like Twitter more than Facebook, you can still watch us on there, but you can't comment like you can here. So Facebook Live is probably the preferred method, but we're on Twitter as well. But before we get to the interview, we have some beers to drink from Beer Boys in Wilkes-Barre. They always provide us with these huge crawlers from their 72 beers on tap. And this week, tonight actually, they have a Susquehanna Brewing Company Shandy Tap Takeover. So they're having all their very fruity shandies. So if you like a little fruit in your beer, this is the place to go. On tap, they have Orange is the New Ale, Blueberry Thrill, Raz the Roof, Shady Spot, Sunny Spot, and a cask of Mango Lychee Shandy. So that you can only get at Beer Boys. So you can get them all in pints or flights with free SBC glassware.
I want to add to that. I think you can only find Orange is the New Ale and Raz the Roof currently at Beer Boys. It was out there before, but I think that's like he's stashing them away for this event. So if you like those beers, go to Beer Boys. It's packed already. It's packed. I couldn't find a parking spot.
Yeah, neither could I. I had to pull over on the side. It's like, Jesus Christ. But we encourage you to go down there and support those guys. They've been awesome to us, and they always provide us with good stuff. What are the three did they give us this
They
time?
gave us the Blueberry Thrill, Orange is the New Ale, and Raz the Roof.
Awesome.
We're going to Raz the Roof tonight.
Yeah. So which one are we starting with, boys?
Orange sounds wonderful.
I'd take a crack at that Raz. That sounds pretty good too.
We'll get to all of them. They're not just for show.
Yes.
No, we're definitely cracking these open tonight.
Fantastic.
So thank you to Beer Boys. Make sure you go down and get your free glassware as well. I probably have a dozen of those glasses already, but you could always use more. And they also have live music on the weekends as well with no cover and a half price happy hour every night of the week, 8 to midnight on Fridays and Saturdays, and 9 to 11 every other night of the week. So they have always had plenty going on. And one of our open mic favorites, Always Undecided, is almost always playing there. They're practically the house band at this point.
Do you
so.
stuff beers now?
Well,
As well as
So you
Jordan
have to
Ramirez,
sniff
I see there pretty often too.
Yeah, he's good.
He's
my nose
awesome.
in.
We also want to give a shout out to the Vspot, our other sponsor, one of the most popular bars in northeastern Pennsylvania with live entertainment every night of the week. This week they have Riley Loftus tonight, Mike Doherty on Thursday, Better Than Bad on Friday, Project 90s on Saturday, and DJ Huff is hosting karaoke on Sunday. And our NEPA Scene Rising Talent Open Mic and Talent Contest is over, but last night we really went out with a bang. It was super packed. Raph snapped in for a minute.
It was like super packed. It's like, too many people, I'm out.
Especially for a Tuesday.
Yeah.
You walk in and it's like a Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, and I'm technically working from home, so I wasn't trying to get turned on Tuesday.
So, yeah, exactly. So, some people are,
Yeah,
surprisingly,
or
more than I would think.
Yeah.
The Cryptid one, they're a great local band.
Oh, it's
so
Chinese
we're-
Brothers band.
we're
Yeah,
ex-
our
Very
drummer
cool.
Shiny's
Very cool.
brother.
Yep. I caught them a couple of months ago, so I'm glad they started coming to the mic, and they were really good. So.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to the Holtzman Effect as well. Never saw them before. They came last night. They were really, really awesome. Very loud too, but really, really good rock band.
Loud rock bands. Damn them.
Especially at my age. Now I start to feel it.
Yeah. Tinnitus is pretty cool.
But we are not done yet. We're skipping a week next week, and then next week we're back with the final showcase, which is Tuesday, June 26th. We're giving out thousands of dollars worth of prizes, so we hope that you come out to that. We're going to have a link up tomorrow. It'll be $8 in advance or $10 at the door. All that money goes right back into the prize money. So make sure you come out to that. Otherwise, it's coming out of my pocket.
You're not taking a cut of that?
Well,
You should.
pretty much all of it, and then whatever's left over, I'll get.
All
But a good
little off the
more of
top.
it is going to the artist than to me.
Well, I guess that's good.
Yeah. So can't say that I don't support them every which way, including financially. But it's a fun time, and I think this finals is going to be very interesting. A lot of diverse acts this time around, and some full bands this time around, which is pretty cool. We usually only have maybe one full band in the whole thing, so it's cool to have a couple this time.
Cool.
All right.
You know what's funny? So, I've never met you before,
No, you have not.
but we've spoke
Several times.
via the internet.
We have.
You're a big fucking dude.
I get that a lot.
I don't know. I didn't have an expectation, but I was
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Huge.
Huge. Yeah. Yeah, I get that a lot. I mean, it's oddly comforting. Like, I am. Don't you fucking forget.
Definitely a gentle giant, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When there is a 151 involved.
Yeah, let's not bring that up too early. Those days are behind me. I'm a better person now.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
What do you guys think of the orange?
It's really good.
It is.
I want to take this back with me to Texas, but I think that's frowned upon by the FCC or whoever is in charge of flying. Is it the FCC? No,
Could be the FTA.
it probably is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know these things.
FCC controls like
Yeah, the
radio
airwaves.
and
Yes.
stuff,
Yeah.
and TV and shit.
Luckily, not this
They're
because
very
we
concerned
can
about
use our sailor
bringing
mouths.
beer across state borders.
Yeah, they really are. Well, so friends of mine from here had moved down there, as you know, Kevin and Caitlin. Kevin's sister had like 2 Yinglings in her fridge, and I drank them because I wanted them. And she was like, "Who drank those?" I was like, "Oh no!" So now I'm sitting
And
here
so
like,
it
"All right,
begins."
can I get Yinglings sent down to Texas?" Turns out you can't.
No, you cannot.
So we'll find a way. But I didn't say that out loud. This isn't recorded. It's recorded. Anyway, felony
You're on a
misdemeanor
Take two?
Nicole.
You're on a no-fly list now.
Yeah. That's fine. I'll just walk.
I've been trying to get a hold of Maynard's wine for years because.
Oh yeah, the
Because
Caduceus wine cellars.
Yeah, because he's from he's in Arizona, and it's like you can't get it here. You know,
Right.
nobody sells it. Out of all the places that we have in the area that sell alcohol, nobody carries it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really difficult to get it. They won't ship it up here. So
Well,
you have to find
maybe-
another way.
You should like have a contest and see how long it takes for you to get wine from Maynard or its whole album.
Yeah,
There you
what
go.
happens first?
Didn't he announce today that it's coming?
The wine or
That's
the
the
album?
The album?
Dude, they've announced
He
it
says
so
that
many
every
week.
times.
No, I swear
Every
I
6
saw
months,
something
one
on-
member of Tool's
Yeah.
like, "We're doing it.
I thought it was him.
It's gonna
coming. It's
happen."
definitely
Jones is
there.
always posting
I
like
thought it
videos
was-
of him recording guitars. I'm like, well, that's cool. Well,
Right.
apparently all the songs are like 10 minutes long too.
I believe
so-
it.
I heard that. Yeah, I don't care.
Nor do
Yeah,
I.
they'll be good.
Yeah, I've kind of lost interest at this point. I'm like, if it comes, it comes. If it
How
doesn't,
dare you.
whatever.
I'm
You know?
kind of with you there. And Maynard's recent output has not been impressive to me. So.
He's more focused on the wine.
He is.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's where
Well,
that's
it's
where
like
That's where his
your-
heart's at right now.
Yeah.
It's like your Rob Zombie theory, where he either puts out a good album or a good movie, never both at the same time.
Right.
And it alternates.
No, it does. It's like when he has an awesome movie, the album's terrible, and when he puts out a good album, the movie isn't worth watching. It's just like, well, you can't do 2 things at once. No matter who you are.
Hopefully, he's doing a Devil's Rejects sequel. which
We'll
should be
see. That
interesting.
I'll go see that. His last movie was I was waiting for it for like 2 years, like since its inception, and it was one of the worst movies I ever paid to go see. It was just awful.
And what was that?
31.
Oh, that was,
It was-
mega hyped up too.
It was
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
terrible. It didn't make any sense. It was like really like poorly thrown together, and
Yeah.
there was nothing about it that was even
I
like
started it. And I,
anything to remember. And just like, no, this looks like a movie that you would put on Netflix, and then like
Right.
get 20 minutes in and be like, nah, nah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yep.
But you know, can't win them all.
No, certainly not. But I do like House of a Thousand Corpses. I think it's underrated.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I like House of a Thousand Corpses more than Devil's Rejects. I like
Yeah.
both of them, but that was my favorite one. But I also love his remake of Halloween. Like Rob Zombie's Halloween is my favorite remake of all time, and I know some horror fans that like I usually see a lot
Yeah,
in
no.
common with that very, very much so disagree with me.
Right.
So it's just like, you know, depends on who you are and what your tastes are.
Yeah, that's true.
I think before we get into this, we have to shame Brittany.
Oh yes, we have that. That's every show we have to do that she's not here.
How do we do that today?
I don't know.
I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get like hashtag me too or whatever. So
Go for like some sort of terrible
Also me?
pun. Running boots.
we need to shame her.
We need to start
Public shaming.
like we were saying. We're gonna draw on her face every week because we're using her face to promote this, and then she's not on here.
You should just
We're
start.
like, oh, who are these two schlubs? Why am I
You should bring a really shitty cardboard cutout of her.
Oh my God, that'd be
Set it right in the
amazing.
middle.
That's perfect for public shaming.
Do we know
that's a good
anybody
idea.
who can create cardboard cutouts? I
Yeah,
want us to get her.
most
We'll
likely.
sit her there, and like every week we'll just draw something on. it.
Yeah.
Or get like those stick-on mustaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do something different every week. A little
But
goatee.
the mustaches are gonna be her eyebrows.
Maybe. Yeah.
Brittany is coming. If you're not, that is. So
Yes.
Ultimatum.
You better be here
I like
next
it.
week.
because I won't be here next week.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
mentioned.
it's gonna be awkward.
It'll be awkward. You sitting here,
Nah.
this couch.
No.
I've done it. I've done it before.
Oh, you have. You
Just
definitely
right.
have. But you're just all lonely. Like,
Hey guys, what's going on?
Don't have anyone to interview
I
this
hope you'll
week.
tune
so
in.
just be-
Just me.
Just you.
Just Fred.
It'll just be you, but it'll be like a live feed of you just like sitting here,
Yep.
not having conversation at all. Like,
Yeah.
Not orating anything. Just
Looking through your bills, maybe.
Yeah. Flipping through Facebook.
Drawing a cartoon.
Are you people still here?
It'd be an interesting social experiment. I'd say that much.
Yeah.
Think about it.
It's like the Truman Show.
Ah, there you go.
You could just reenact scenes from a Truman Show.
Stretch it to a 2-hour episode. Why not?
Right. I'm sure Cole would love watching that too.
Yeah. Get kicked out real quick.
Yeah.
Like, Rich, what are you doing? Just. It's
Got
art.
this.
This is performance art.
Got this all day.
So let's get into a little bit of history on the band for those who may not be familiar with you guys. How did you guys get started?
So I had gotten asked to play with a friend at Cosmos Billiards, which I guess isn't called Cosmos anymore.
No.
Okay,
Up in Dixon
disappointing.
City.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, let me see if I can find people to play with. And Eric Manley I've known my whole life, so I was like, Eric, you play guitar. Your dad had taught me for a little while how to play, so we can do this. And Nick I had met through a mutual friend at a party and got wind that he was a singer, and I was like, yeah, this works. So we learned a bunch of really random covers, most of which we never touched again.
Smash Mouth.
Not Smash Mouth. Yeah, fuck Smash Mouth, by the way. I
yeah,
can say
seriously. Yeah.
Like, how dare
absolutely.
you?
Fuck that.
that, right? How dare you?
Right?
Duds is a national treasure. Stop it.
Duds from E57, in case you hadn't seen, was trying to get into Smash Mouth, and he was very polite about it. He would comment on their Facebook posts and be like, "Hey, can I be in your band for a little bit?" I think that's very nice. Like just
Yeah.
a little bit. He's not saying like, "Can I be a permanent member? Can I kick somebody else out?"
There was
of
also
his
like a
place?"
petition. There was like an online
Yeah,
petition.
somebody
for it.
started a
Yeah,
petition.
yeah,
It was like a
yeah,
complete stranger
that's-
too. It was
yeah.
like somebody he didn't even know.
That's
'Cause it's
fantastic.
funny.
It's great. And you think because
I
like
signed it.
they have nothing better to do than argue with people on Twitter. I don't know if you've ever seen
Yes.
Smash Mouth's Twitter, but
Yeah, they
like,
get pretty
just-
salty.
Yeah, they get
They-
real salty.
they
with
really
people.
do.
So you think like somebody's like, "Hey, I like your band that much that I want to be in it." Like, hey, all right, that's positive publicity
Yeah.
for once, you know?
Well, I mean, really, for them, any publicity should be,
Welcome.
No,
Yeah,
it
for
just
sure.
went over
That's
their
true.
heads.
Probably.
Terrible. You caught my terrible pun
I
thing.
got it too. I was bad.
Smash mouth puns have no place in this world.
Anyway, the inception of Silhouette Lies. So we played that show. We were like, hey, this was actually kind of fun. Started rounding out members. That was what, like 7-8 years ago?
Yeah, it was 2010.
Yeah. Yeah, so
8
that's how it
years.
started. And then, we were playing the Vintage Theater when I was at 119, and then at its new location, we were playing New Visions quite a bit. So it was cool, playing at the all ages venues. Then we eventually put on our big boy pants and started playing some local bars, play the keys. Jen, sorry for how loud we always were.
and
She always
will
loved
be,
listening.
and
Yeah.
will be.
Yes.
Right.
And that's Jen kicking us out.
No, Jen always loved us, no matter what we did.
Yeah, and we had a lot of support from local venue owners, fellow bands, Rich, all the publications you were writing for at the time, he always gave us coverage, so it was really cool. It was better days in the scene. I don't like to do nostalgia, but there is some positive nostalgia there.
Remember when? I remember.
And I think it was 2012, like 2 years. We had been a band for 2 years when Nicky joined, and he was in another local metal band, and he had come and saw us. It was basically like, hey,
You guys,
You
need
guys
help.
are a lot better than the
guys
band I'm
are-
in now. Please take
you guys could be good if you let me join your band. It was like, all right.
What a terrible
And,
idea that was.
No, it was a
Sure
great
was.
idea. That's when we
We
became
need
a real
someone to
band.
bounce around on stage.
And then, yeah,
And
we
you know
just kinda
Eric wasn't going to
played-
do it.
Yeah. Played anywhere that would take us for 6 years.
Yeah, from...
Had a lot of fun.
we
I have a van and a practice space. You're in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Pretty much.
Just turn down and spin around. You'll be fine.
Toured the local NEPA scene. We played a couple Philly shows. They were awful.
So bad.
So bad.
So bad.
Everyone hypes up the Philly scene, and I
Couple
wish
Philly
I
shows- we
like,
played
knew
in
the
somebody's
great people.
basement with like 8 people there,
Speak and spell, dude.
and a
Oh,
dude with a
man.
speak and spell who was like, his whole set was he just had shit. Like he just
I
had
think he
like
had
a
ukulele
speak and
plugged
spell
into
and
something.
I thought
like
it was a
a
violin.
weird wire whisk and like just
Okay.
different household appliances that he was like scraping and banging on the table and then just looping them.
But his
Over and over.
vocals were poetry that he found on the streets of New York and made it a point to tell us that he found on the streets
Yeah, like
of
he
New York.
had gotten like a poem book. Like he bought like somebody's poem art off
Okay.
of the streets of New York and was like, I'm gonna turn this into a song.
So
and
he
went,
would loop weird like Saw soundtrack music that he made in front of your eyes and then read a terrible poem and it's like, we don't belong here.
I got a cheesesteak.
We did.
Yeah,
we did
because
get cheesesteak.
that was the final day of our 6-day mini tour, and they gave us $7, and we used that to buy a cheesesteak, which then Raph ate.
You were welcome.
Good times.
There's that. We
So
played.
that's original
Virginia
music.
was good though.
Virginia was
Virginia
cool.
was awesome.
Was that Blue Fox?
Yeah, that was the one Eric couldn't make, so Novak played.
Delaware was
That-
fun.
That was
Delaware was fun. I
Which
thought
one
we were
was
gonna
that?
die, but it was
The
fun.
one where we played
Mojo
a place
13.
that it looked like the
Oh
ICP
my
was
god, yeah. Like if the ICP had like a Ninja Turtles-esque type layer, that's what this place was. Like we pulled up to the joint and it was called Mojo 13 and it was just like a giant like black and white face clown on the front of it with like red glowing eyes. And it's like, what the fuck is this? And you went inside, it was like they were trying to remodel, so like they were halfway through, maybe turning it from like circus theme to whatever, but there was still like 50s looking like strongman, like painted on the walls and like chain seats hanging from the ceiling and shit. And we're just like, well, guess this is it.
And they had church pews too. I remember
They
that.
did have
Yeah.
church
It was
pews.
weird.
It was so. It was a fun show though.
Yeah,
It was
there
amazing.
was
We played
the,
with some great
show in
bands.
New Jersey too.
Was that at the strip club?
It was next to it.
Yeah, next to the
Yeah,
strip.
adjacent.
Yeah.
The show is adjacent.
I think that was the
to
show that put Dave over the edge.
that.
That was.
Yeah. He was
That
like,
was-
I'm over this.
That was when our first drummer left.
For good reason.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
just.
we went to New Jersey. That was our mistake.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, anyone from Jersey.
I'm
Born
not.
in-
I'm not
From
moved.
Jersey.
I'm from the Bronx, so I naturally have animosity towards Jersey.
Yeah,
Although I
there's
fly
like
in
a
and out of
permanent
Newark.
rivalry there.
Yeah, it's just a thing. There's no reason for it. I can
Right.
tell you why.
It's all over pizza. Jersey thinks they have the better pizza. New York thinks they have the better pizza, and they can't let it die.
Well,
That's about it.
we all know the real answer.
Yeah, it's Jersey.
Listen, John Bon Jovi.
All right, another time.
And then they both hate Northeastern Pennsylvania because we put American cheese on pizza.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's just
we do.
weird. I like it. Don't get me wrong.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
But I love me some Maronis and some Old Forge pizza. But
Yeah.
it's better than Texas pizza.
Which doesn't exist apparently.
It does in a weird state. I don't.
Texas?
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple decent pizza places in Texas, but overall, it's just not good.
I don't
Like-
get it. I still don't get it.
When Domino's is one of the better pizza options out there, you have a problem.
Yeah, I don't understand
I'm just
why they can't
blacklisting
remake it.
everyone.
Like,
So
is it the water?
How hard is it?
It the water does factor in. So Fudd actually told me one that I don't know if anyone knows Fudd. Fudd's awesome. We were talking about random shit, and then we got on top of pizza. He's like, so you know, in California, they don't know how to make pizza. It's not just because they're all yuppies out there, because that's something Fudd would say. He's
Of
like,
course.
you know, there's something with the altitude impacts the pressure in the water, and then it mixes with the flour awkwardly, so then the pizza texture is weird and not what it
Awkward
should be,
pizza?
and you have to like ship water from across state lines to get the pizza to be made the right way. I'm like,
That's way too
what?
complicated.
Why is there so much science behind pizza?
I had really good pizza in Vegas last year, though.
Oh yeah.
It was really good, yeah. So I don't know. I don't get it. They did it.
Yeah, it's
Figure,
not that far
figure
off.
it out.
Raph, just bring a pizza recipe back with you.
I'll have to. And I'll have to open a place, and then that's my life.
You should. Silhouette pies.
Silver pies.
Oh,
We've been
we're
talking
bringing
about
that
it
up.
Love it.
years.
Yeah. We had so
been
many
written in the
bad
stars.
ones. Still at pies. There's another one in there too.
Silhouette.
We decided after a while, because we were really slow with writing songs and we were way better at merch, so we were just going to start making ridiculous merch. So silhouette pies,
The
those
walrus
were the
within.
baked goods. Yeah.
That's a thing now.
We were gonna
like,
make
every-
silhouette-ized dick pics, which were just free guitar pics with like famous dicks on them, like Van Dyke and
okay.
Clark, and like all of them.
Nixon.
That's cool.
Nixon.
Womp
You know, but when no, never happened. I'm sure I got
That
outvoted.
is a very red beer.
Is that the raspberry one? Or the blueberry?
Are we razzing the roof?
I'm
Roof
ready.
in the
I'm
Raz?
ready to razz.
Raffing the ruse.
A little less than half. That's good. Yeah. That should get us around. Oh, by the way, Gerard said that the cardboard cutout is on its way.
Oh,
Excellent.
perfect. You can always count on Gerard.
Should be Raph in the roof.
Right?
I hope
He's
so.
he's
Raph memes.
he's like a master of all different kinds of trades. Like you never know what he's going to come out with next.
Yeah, he's always that guy that if you say something too, he's, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, exactly. And he'll find a way.
Can we make pizza, a good pizza on the West Coast? Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
Take Gerard to the
This is
West
good,
Coast.
too.
This is equally as good.
I figured
If
everything
not,
was
maybe a
gonna
little
be
bit more. Although I was excited for the Raz.
Yeah,
I'm a raspberry flavor guy.
Oh, that's good.
I am too.
I normally don't like fruity beers, but these are all hitting the spot.
Yeah, they're awesome. They got that good shandy flavor, and they actually taste like the fruits usually.
Yeah, it's not
A
like
lot
that
of beer
fake-
Yeah, it
tastes
doesn't taste like
yeah.
fake version of this fruit.
Like everything tastes like fruity pebbles for some reason.
Right.
Yeah. Leinenkugel especially, I've noticed.
Leinenkugel is
that.
really
A
guilty
lot
of
of
it.
theirs they're good, but they taste like fruity
The
pebbles.
Yeah,
Sunset wheat specifically tastes exactly
Exactly.
like
Yes.
this.
Yeah, it
It's
does.
awesome. Love it.
It's awesome.
See, can you guys talk a little bit about, you guys built a pretty good fan base here.
No, we
a
can't
lot of
talk about
dedicated people. Moving on.
Leave.
Next. So these dick pics.
No, we did. I think it was just like Raph said earlier, we started out playing all ages because mostly none of us were 21 yet. Like
Hook 'em while they're
that was
young.
before Nicky joined the band.
I think that's the key.
we weren't really
Yep.
even. We weren't even able to play bars for the first full year and a half, 2 years of the band.
Yeah.
So by the time we started actually joining the local scene, for the most part, bar-wise, we had already been playing together for 2 years, and we already had our 6 songs and our 3 covers or whatever, our hour set.
Sure.
So I think it was just the right timing where we had all of our friends that were also in local bands when we were playing the Vintage Theater and everything like that, like Via Social States and the Ion Attraction, A Fire with Friends, like all of those bands. and just other musicians. We had a good fan base. Like, they were fans of us, we were fans of them. So when we started playing bars and reaching out to like playing with different bands and then coming out to Wilkes-Barre, like, it just kind of happened very organically. There was 6 people at Silhouette Live shows for the first 3 years, and then for the last 3 years there was quite a bit at every show, and it was like people started to know the songs, enjoy the songs, like sing the songs back to you, post the songs on Facebook, post the lyrics, and it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Seemingly, like, from one day to the next, like, nobody gave a shit, and then everybody gave a shit, and then right when we broke up, now it's like, wow, oh, you got the lasting Silhouette Lies legacy. I'm like, you mean our T-shirts? Like, our T-shirts are our 9 songs. Like, what? Like, okay. But I guess everybody really enjoyed our shows. Right. And I think that was just, we all always had a really good time with each other. And, like, we cared about the music and loved our music, but we really just enjoyed performing and, like, playing shows together. And, like, I think that came across really well.
Right.
And we never got involved with any, like, band drama or any fucking like, well, we didn't win this award, so we're pissed, or like any of that bullshit. We just wanted to play and have fun and write music, and I think that like people kind of saw that and vibed with it, so it's always cool to see.
Right.
Yeah, I would have to say that's probably the best thing about playing with these guys is that it didn't matter if there was 2 people in the room or if there was 1,500. Like, we always would go on and have a ball, you know, no matter what, like instruments went down, cables aren't working, this or that, you know, like
those shows always were more fun.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it was for us. It was never, oh, well, this show was terrible. I mean, we might have been joking around, but like every experience we made as a band together was just amazing, just to do with the group of people that, you know, we got to do it with.
Right.
That, and I think I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I don't think so.
Oh, well, no, but I really, like, you really have to, you know, like, give mad props to this area, because without all the other, like Nick was saying, without all the other local bands and local musicians, because like, sure, we have a fan base, but most of it is friends that are musicians that liked our band. And like, I think that's even cooler than having fans. I mean, don't get me wrong, fans are awesome, but just to know that like another local band and or local musician in the area
and bands that we respected,
exactly, digs your music, you know? They're like, oh man, this is really cool, you know, I'm gonna check you out when I'm not playing, and have that aspect of me. And of course we all do that for each other, but to have that in this area is just fantastic, you know.
It's nice, and I don't think it's the norm. Like, there isn't a whole lot of backstabbing. It's like, if I'm not playing, I'm gonna go out and see this band, you know.
Sure.
And that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like with us, like we never had the rock star ego, and like we had no place to ever have in the first place. But that aside, you know, some people still do. But for us, it was always, these people aren't fans; they're friends. Even if they weren't our friends after a show, they were our friends from that point on. And the bands we played with, you know, like we had an intense sense of camaraderie with them, and it's something I'll always hold dear to my heart. You know, some of the best friends I have today are because of music, whether it's my bandmates or, you know, people in other bands. And there's just always this mutual respect and, you know, like building each other up. And it was a really great community.
And I think, too, you know, you end up kind of even subconsciously influencing each other in different ways.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
You know, seeing, you know, somebody with a lot of energy, you're like, okay, I want my band to be like that, too. You know, I want to have that kind of stage presence, and it kind of drives you to be better, too.
Oh, for sure. It's like, you know, we'd go and play a show with Ion Attraction because, like, they were kind of our brother band, like, coming up.
Yeah.
And we'd see, like, Joe Terry running around like a madman and Mike, you know, being crazy, too. We're like, shit, we have to compete with that?
Yep.
You know, and it was never,
Every
competition,
time.
Eric,
like,
you
in a
have to
malicious
move.
way. It was always like, well, shit, they're raising the bar. Let's, like, step our game up. Or, like, you know, we'd play at the Social State or something like that. And I would just be in awe of Ed constantly in his songwriting.
So, yeah.
And just, like, go back
Social
home,
State
like,
especially.
all right, I have to learn to write better songs.
Yeah.
Like, if we're going to be playing with these guys that often, like, we need the songs to back it up. So it was always healthy.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have an interesting sound too. Where did the sound come from? How did you develop that?
I think a lot of that was, you know, like we all collectively have very distinct taste in music and influences, but you know we had some common ground too, and I think a lot of that, you know, was like kind of like what you're hinting at before, was informed by the local music scene. You know, kind of like hearing things, being like, oh, that's cool. I don't know what band you listen to that inspired you, but like that's something that inspires me now. So there's some of that. There's some of the like, I'm a big Thrice fan. Nicky loves the Used. Nick like was raised on 80s hair metal, but also loves a like wide dearth of music. Eric was raised as like, I like to use big words all the time. Eric was like raised as a fingerpick acoustic guitar player.
Yeah.
And Dave and then Tommy and then Shiny all like brought something to the table on drums too. So it was just like, well, here's what we got. What do we make out of this? It was always fun when we were playing shows because we'd either play with like a lot of my friends were in indie bands, so we would be the weird heavy band that's on an indie show, but then we'd go play with like metal bands and be like
The light band.
we'd be like the ballad band. We're like, well, shit, this
For
is
a
weird.
while,
But
that
it was
was
a lot
the-
of fun.
That was
Yeah.
the
The norm.
difference between Scranton and Wilkes-Barre. Anytime we played in Scranton, we were the metal band. Because we would be playing with all these great, like, indie or prog bands in Scranton, like A Social State of Fire with Friends, like, all these great bands. Blinded Passenger was, like, an Americana kind of folk band. So when we were playing in Scranton, we were the metal band that was kind of, like, Deftonesy and, like, running around and being crazy. And then we would play in Wilkes-Barre, and they're like, oh, that's, like, the arty, like, the arty, weird, like, avant-garde band. It's like...
They're
like,
singing about their feelings.
Right, it's
No.
like, I don't
Like-
understand. But from the beginning, like, we never, because, like, we just met up and played a couple of songs acoustic and just liked the way it vibed. Like, those songs ranged from, Rise Against Goo Goo Dolls to, like, just random stuff that we just kind of put together. So, right off the bat, once we got a drummer and our first bass player, there was never a question of, like, all right, well, what do we sound like? Do we want to be like this band? It was just, let's try to write some songs and see what the hell they sound like. And that's what they sounded like. And we all thought it was pretty cool. And, like, other people seemed to think it was pretty cool, too. So it was just, like, it worked. When you had, like, Raph and Eric playing, and Dave in the very beginning, too, playing, like, very intricate or, like, layered music that was, like, very it wasn't, like, they weren't shredding or, like, going crazy, but it was still, like, it gave people pause, and, like, there was a lot of stuff going on. And then with me and Nicky running around and, like, jumping off things and screaming in people's faces, like, it's kind of like you don't know what to pay attention to.
Right.
So I think that was kind of, like, that was always cool.
Yeah, and
I
like
don't
we
know.
were
I still hear, like, random stuff like, oh, this song reminds me of this band. It's like, I don't even know what that, like, I've never even heard of that band, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, now I'll go listen to it and see if, like, I hear the same thing.
Right.
But
It's funny because for me, like, I could point to like 3 bands specifically that probably capture what we sound like pretty well. But at the same time, like, we weren't reinventing the wheel, but locally there weren't a lot of bands doing what we were kind of doing at the time.
Right.
And I don't say that from a place of pride so much as, like, we were kind of an odd band out in a good way. It was cool because, a lot of our friends' bands were also like that. They're like, we do this. I don't care if we're not the next, like, cool pop punk band or, whatever the case may be. Nothing wrong with pop punk either, but
Sure.
I feel that a lot of bands, here and abroad have this sense where they're like, well, we're going to set out to be this band and we're going to, like, dress the part and get the same instruments and write the same parts. So there's going to be a breakdown here and a clean vocal here, and this is how you have to do. It's very rehearsed and very polished, and for all intents and purposes, it's good, but there's no soul behind it.
Right.
I think at the end of the day, that was, like, our main thing. Like, be true to ourselves, be true to people that we're playing our music for, and, the rest will follow.
we did get yelled at by a couple different people for, like, our dressing however the way we want, like, because we never had
remember
like a
that.
band uniform. It was just like, all right, like, whatever your rock clothes are. So it was like, I'm on stage wearing my, like, Wasp I Fuck Like a Bee shirt, and Eric and Dave look like they just came out of, like, study hall, and everybody's like, no, you guys need to figure something. Like, there's a middle ground here. So we were doing suits for a while.
Yeah.
Until Raph was just like, I can't fucking play in a suit. This sucks really bad. It looks awesome, but I hate it. I'm like, okay.
And I love suits.
And it was just, like, muted colors. And Nicky started buying things that looked like he pulled it off of, like, a 70s couch. And just wearing that to
Thank
shows.
you.
And it's like, all right.
So then we just
I guess that
reverted back
works.
to just being like,
Just
we're
wear
us.
whatever the fuck you
Yeah.
want again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Exactly.
What 3 bands?
AFI, Thursday, and Deftones. I think if you took those 3 bands specifically together, you'd get pretty close to what our sound is.
I would agree.
Sure.
I see some story of the year in there a lot too, just in, like,
Well,
the
we
dynamic
can't
between
do
the
the flips
catchy
and
and
shit.
that's true.
The
We're not
spin
coordinated.
kicks.
We're not as coordinated as story of the year.
Eric and I haven't
by a long
been
shot.
around in years.
I've got this.
So you guys had a couple final shows.
Yeah.
One in 2016.
They're just gonna keep being final shows.
Yeah.
This is the
You
third
know?
one.
To be fair, I don't think we
Right,
billed them all
It's-
as final shows. Other people have said final shows
Right.
for
Yes.
us.
Right.
Doesn't Ozzy do that?
Yeah.
This
He's been doing that for decades.
this
at
year's
point.
final performance.
Yeah.
Well, what was-
Because I never billed this as final show. It's been the buzzword, and I'm like, it's fine.
Well,
Until I
what
come
was-
back in
we
again, then we
did,
play a show.
So I said reunion show.
Yes.
I didn't say final.
What was the first final?
That's smart.
show?
I like that.
Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, it was. We had
We
played.
opened for Grace's Downfall at Thirsty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our.
That was
final
like our
show.
final show,
Right,
our first
right.
final show, which was cool. But then, why did we do the Vspot?
Because we're
Because
awesome.
I was moving.
Oh
So
yeah, we wanted to do
I
one
was
more
like,
show
I don't know
before
that we're
Raph
ever gonna
left.
get to do this again, so let's do it.
So we
Right.
hadn't played in like about a year at that point, but he was leaving.
But that was
forever,
also a
seemingly.
Luna Soltero show, right?
Yeah, it was like Luna Soltera like CD release
release.
party / final solo show / my friend got married the day before and I'm moving 2 days after.
Yeah.
So,
'Cause
And that's kind of
masochism
the same
is
thing
awesome.
with this one. It just kind of it lined up perfectly. Me and Nikki were at the Vspot watching a show and talking about like, hey, Raph has to come back sometime. Why don't we do it? And then Raph calls me. He's like, well, I'm gonna be in town in a couple months. Like, okay.
and then the
we
benefit
can do
the benefit
something.
happened to fall in place, and I mean,
Right.
we couldn't be playing for a better thing, obviously. And just like
Right.
the timing of it was impeccable.
Yeah, because Jen had told me, months prior, like on DL, like, hey, we're probably gonna be doing something for Ed's mom in June. All right, cool. Like, keep me in the loop. And months would pass, and like I hadn't heard much, just because I think details were still being ironed out. Then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, 3 of my friends chose to get married within like the span of 10 days in June. I'm like, I love you all, but I fucking moved to Texas. This is really difficult for me, but
Right.
I'll try.
Yeah.
So I talked to my boss, and luckily enough, like my job down there is pretty cool, and they're lenient enough where they're like, yeah, if you want to work from home for a week, you could. So I was like, all right, great. And then Brad had contacted me, Brad Beneski, and he was like, hey man, if you're still interested in playing that show, it's on this date. And I'm like, all right, now I'm definitely coming home. So it worked out in the best way possible.
So what lies assemble?
Yep. Kick off a
I think I
crazy
played
weekend.
your song on my show, and then you were like, next week you were gone.
Yeah, yeah. 'cause
That
I'm
that sounds like a rap
Yep.
thing to do.
That's a
so
very
I wouldn't be
Solo Alive
surprised.
thing to do.
It's
A
a really
lot of-
great song. This guy's playing here, and the week later I'm like, this is a great song, but you can't see him live ever. So.
a lot of my
Unless you go to
friends
Texas.
were jokingly and or seriously mad at me about that. They're like, you can't release a fucking CD and move. And I'm like,
Watch me, bro.
I'm like the inner troll in me is like laughing about it. I'm like, it wasn't
Everybody that wasn't able to make the one and only Luna Soltera show didn't get your CD. It
Yeah.
was like, oh, I'm glad you want it, but I'll ship it to you now.
Yeah.
Once
And I
I
did
get
ship
there
it.
and get settled. Yeah, no, you did definitely, but it was like you could have left like 10 copies with us. We would have sold it for you.
Yeah, practicality and I don't get along.
Well, it's a good transition into what you're doing with that band too. So you started as a solo project, but you have other members now.
Yeah, so it started as a solo project. Actually, initially, the story of how it started is kind of funny. Because Scott Jordan and I
So it
called
lies.
So Scott Jordan and I called Scott because I was like, Scott's the one I ever got to like make music with, and people think that we're the same person, and we like a lot of the same stuff. So let me call him and see what's up. So I was like, that'd be a fun thing to do. I don't know what it would be, but I was like, hey, I have these songs. Wondering if you want to do it. And he's like, dude, no lie, I was gonna call you. I'm also in a similar boat. This was like before Permanence became Permanence.
Right.
And we were just like both talking back and forth. I'm like, well, I probably have a couple people I can get on board, but I don't know what you want to do, or it wound up like being a thing where like keep me posted on your project, but I'm gonna do my thing.
Yeah.
Then I got the job offer, so I was like, well, all right, this has to be solo now, whether I want it to or not. Just because I felt that in my head, I was like, well, I'm moving, I need some sort of musical resume because Austin's the musical capital of the world, or live music capital, or whatever.
Sure.
So I was like, all right, let me do it. I've always wanted to do it. Again, with the whole looking up to Ed thing. I'm like, well, shit, Ed did it, so why don't I try it? So I did it, moved down, with my impeccable timing. I was like, okay, well, I don't want to pay people. I don't want to have hired guns. That's not fun. I would like to have a band again and, like, find a camaraderie. So let me open this project up into, hey, I have these songs. I'd love for you to learn them, and we could play them, and then we could, like, maybe write collaboratively. So I took to Craigslist. Didn't get stabbed.
The list.
So that's pretty cool.
That's surprising.
Craigslist, Facebook, etc. Would find people. Some would work, some wouldn't. It was kind of back and forth a while. Played a show with one lineup. Got really well received, so that was cool. But like ultimately, it just kind of didn't work out. So then I kind of was like, all right, well, do I really want to do this as a band again? Would I rather just keep this solo? So I kind of chilled on it for a minute. But right now, it's kind of slowly starting to fall back into place. So we'll see where that goes. In the meantime, I wound up, kind of just coming across this really funny Facebook post on like a local music page in the Austin community, and I just saw a bunch of comments about Ron Paul. I was like, what the fuck? It was like 100 comments though. So I was like, well, what's going on? Because this is the music page, so I wonder what's happening.
Yeah.
And these guys that posted this ad, I didn't read most of the ad. I was just looking for where Ron Paul came in, and like they like jokingly mentioned like things that they love, and Ron Paul was one of them. And all their comments afterward were like, "Listen, guys, it was a joke. We all have like 3 different political perspectives. None of us like Ron Paul, whatever." I'm like, all right, so they're funny. I would get along with these guys.
Yeah.
And then I actually read through their ad one more time, and they cited a bunch of bands that I'm into, and I'm like, all right, yeah, let me see what's up, because I don't know what I'm doing with my band right now. So now I play in another band called Calmer Seas. It's pretty cool. It actually reminds me a lot of Home in a way, where, that similar kind of like indie leaning on like heavier rock sound, but just as people, like, I don't know if it's just because they're 3 guys that are already friends, it was easier to walk into, but, they share a similar sense of humor as like we have here, where we're just all ravenous assholes. And it's really nice to be around. So
Change the name of the band.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that after. So yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing with music, and the music scene down there, I don't know how I feel about it yet, because I haven't really been exposed to too much of it. I live kind of in the boonies compared to actual Austin.
Okay.
In a town called Cedar Park, which sounds really picturesque, and I live on a street, that's what they're called, Buttercup Creek. So it's like the epitome of like, well, this just sounds really suburban, and I love that. But, that being said, getting downtown is a chore, and I haven't really made friends with people who are either in other bands or go out to see music regularly to like really get out and get into the scene. I've been to a few shows out there. Blues guitar players obviously are phenomenal down there.
Right.
There's one called Buenos Dias that I was like blown away by. But other than that, I've seen a few bands, and they all kind of fit what I was talking about earlier, where it's like, hey, we are this type of band, and we're really well rehearsed, and look at us, and we're great, but we're really great at doing this one thing, and it felt really forced to me. So maybe I'm just jaded. And I think a lot of it is because, like, I have the fortune of coming from such a great scene up here.
Right.
I think a lot of people knew me personally just from, like, being that guy that was at every show and knew words to everyone's songs, and more often than not was on stage singing someone else's song. But, like, there are a lot of really great bands here that, like, I'll still, like, wherever I go, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Like, what's music like here? Awesome. Check out all my friends' bands from back home. Like, check out this University Drive album. Check out Down to Six. Check out Permanent. Check out Behind the Gray. Like, there's so much great music here, and the camaraderie we talked about earlier. I don't know. I can't pretend I was in Seattle in the 90s to really know what I'm talking about, so I'm talking purely out of my ass. But I feel like Scranton has this thing, or NEPA as a whole, where it's a great area. There's lots of people who, like, really give a shit and put effort into making it a great area. There's also a lot of people who put those people down.
Right.
And it's rough, and like it's this like really gray industrial looking town, so that's where I draw a Seattle parallel. But there's just, because of all these other things going on, people take to music and make music and give a shit, and they give a shit to an extent that most people don't. And they come together and do cool things, and I don't take that for granted. It's something I carry with me, and like wherever I go, whether it's Austin or if I wind up somewhere else in life, like that is what I'm going to look back on as what a music scene should be.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Well
That's
said.
way more talking than I ever want to do, by the way.
All right.
Fantastic.
Let's grab some comments.
Oh, boy.
Before we get into.
How about you read it
Ralph,
instead?
stop talking from everyone.
Please.
Steve,
Put me out of my misery.
I've got this.
Steve Zampano.
Steve.
Great musician in his own right. Welcome back, Raph. Are we going to see Silhouette Lies cover a Social State song?
Really? Like, I
Putting
mean,
you on the spot.
No.
I mean, we have it on Facebook.
Yeah, I put
already.
up a
No.
teaser on Facebook. We're not going to tell you what a Social State song it is if you
It's
can't
pretty-
figure it out from the video.
Then you dumb.
Yeah,
But
The
yeah,
good news, it's going to be fantastic.
it's going to be awesome. It's an
But
awesome
there
song. It's
there
gonna be
is
awesome.
another thing that we're doing that we haven't revealed.
That's true.
That ties into that. That's also equally nostalgic.
That's going to be for the real old heads. Like there's going to be
Same
like,
time frame.
Yeah, same time frame, but I feel like 40% of the people will like recognize it right away, and then the other like people will have to be told.
Like
Like,
if
that's this. But it's gonna be cool. It's gonna
Like
be
if
really
you
cool.
look at a show flyer from the first years of us as a band and see the same 3 bands we always played with, you'll figure it out.
That's true.
Those are my favorite shows too to this day.
Me too. That's why this weekend is so cool. Like, I mean, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there's 30 or 40 plus bands playing, and some of them at like Silhouette Lies melded. Like Silhouette Lies hasn't played in 2 years. Melded hasn't played in like 8, something like. I never even got to see them. Like there's bands playing that haven't played in forever since I've been in the music scene. A lot of bands reuniting, a lot of great local bands, but Friday night specifically, we're playing with. It feels like we're just getting thrown back to like one of our shows from 2009.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
2012.
Absolutely.
And that's really cool because like you usually can't go back in time and recapture that. And I'm really
Right.
looking forward to Friday because it's going to be a 2012 Keys show
Yeah, it really
with
is.
Ion Attraction and University Drive, and it's going to be really, really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, if anybody is nostalgic for a certain time in the scene, this
Great.
is the show.
Showing
This is the
our
weekend.
age.
Yeah.
I remember when. Remember?
I remember.
I think when people grow up together, whether it's fans listening to the bands or bands, kind of growing up
Sure.
together in the scene, I think it adds that part of it too, where it means something to you because it takes you back to that time in your life, whether it was good or bad. The music is always
Yeah,
the good part
absolutely.
of the good or bad.
Right.
Well, what's cool with the two is like a lot of us are all on such different paths now. Whether it's Permanence or University Drive or Ion Attraction or even us with our individual projects, that sometimes you just can't get to see each other. Like this band's playing an hour away, and it's like you love those guys to death, but an hour away is an hour away. And you've got this tomorrow or work or whatever it is, and so to have like
work in the morning.
exactly
Right.
and old, it creeps up on you. But to have like all, especially because we grew up with these bands, it's just like, hey, we're all playing the same place at the same time, so not only are we playing, but we're all
We all
hanging
get to,
out
like,
again.
hang out and
Yeah.
watch each
Oh
other.
my
It'll
God,
be
it's
fun.
gonna be fantastic.
Especially like Ion Attraction, just getting to see, like we mentioned them a lot. Our very first show, we played with Ion Attraction, and I think it was only their 3rd show. And
Thank you, Greg Werner.
Yeah,
And they
they
were
were
so much better than
literally
us.
our brother band, and like every major show that Silhouette ever had, Ion Attraction opened, and every major show for a while, Ion Attraction had Silhouette open, and now Ion Attraction's like touring nationally.
Yeah.
Open. I just got to go to Reading and see them open for All That Remains.
How was
and
that?
It was fantastic. And I went with a couple friends who like also know Ion very well.
Yeah.
And I was trying to not let the size of like, I'm seeing one of my best friends' band or some of my best friends' band open for another band that I looked up to or listened to when I was younger in a venue that I've been at 30 times. But
Yeah.
taking that away, like they're a stronger band. They just kept getting more tight and like they just kept getting better as a band, which is they were great when they started.
Yeah.
So like just to see that and to see like how well they're doing and how serious they take it now, like I really think that's going to be the band, if anybody from like our little batch, like they're going to do something because they're not going to stop until they do.
Yep.
Right.
So
Yep.
it's cool. It's cool to see them still swinging and making strides.
Well, yeah, it's like every time you see them, it's like, wow, this is the greatest show they've ever done. And then you'd see them 6 months later, and it's like, wow, this is the greatest show they've ever done.
Right.
And it's like, how do you keep doing it? Just stop.
Stop it.
Just stop.
Yeah. So that's fun.
They were one of the first bands that I ever interviewed, I believe, back
Oh, really?
when they had first started, like years and years ago.
Back
Very
when
cool.
Joe was singing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Joe was still
Molten
singing.
Rainbow and Half Underground, by the way, boys. Hashtag never forget.
Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Power Rangers theme song.
YYZ.
YYZ. YYZ was a great cover.
Yeah,
I'd
it
like to
was.
see any other band in this area. All right, Family Animals could probably do it.
They can do everything too.
There's a lot of really
Yeah.
talented bands
Yeah.
in this area.
So Vinny from the Vspot says, Raph sold me the underwear he wore in the final Silhouette Live show. Now worth nothing.
See, so that's a lie because I don't wear underwear. That is also a lie, but you know, two truths and a lie.
I was gonna say, I feel like that should age like wine, though. So he should be good.
You notice that awkward silence?
That's fine. I stand by my words.
That
has to.
Vinny.
He did compliment that last show at the Vspot too. He says the show was fucking epic.
It was, and we always appreciate him housing us in our craziness, because we got to play a lot of places, and the Keys was one of our main stomping grounds, but the V-Spot was like near the end. That was our home base, and that place got crazy. It felt like there was no rules at the V-Spot.
Yeah.
Everybody
also a
was
band that really
there.
shouldn't
Everybody
have
was
played
crazy, and it was a lot of fun.
I still remember the first time we tried playing there, and he was like, "Listen, I love you guys. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. You're angry all the time. You're not gonna make me money, but I like you. So I'll book you when I can." I'm like,
Fair enough.
I appreciate
Fair
the
enough.
honesty.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's one thing you can say about Vinny. He'll always give it to you straight.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but that's one of the great that's one of the
Exactly.
greatest things about him is he's gonna give it to you straight. So if he doesn't
Musicians appreciate that.
like it, yeah,
It's way better than getting smoke blown up your ass.
Shelley says, final shows, The Kiss of Scranton. Which,
I'm fine with this.
Stop.
Derek Smith said, Nick will love that and Raph will hate it.
Accurate.
Yep.
As I'm sitting here
Thanks, Derek.
Yep.
seething in anger.
And Charlie, thank you.
Team Kiss cover band.
Yes, me and Nikki are gonna form a Kiss cover band where we only play terrible Kiss songs.
So their whole
Yes.
catalog.
No, like 80s stuff, like
no makeup Kiss.
like all night and She's So European and other horrible Kiss songs that I haven't
I
unleashed
don't know
upon
any
you.
of these.
Yeah, the Kissco era, Charisma, fantastic song.
Can we
Look
move
it
on to
up.
more questions?
Let's just rest. How much time we got? Let's talk about Kiss.
Yeah, let's do it.
Dan Rossler says, Scott
Dan.
Jordan and Raph are the same person. I saw it on Infowars with Alex Jones. The deep state globalists want us to believe they're two different people. I believe it.
That is such a Dan Rosler thing to say.
I just read it on the internet, so it's true.
It's of course it's absolutely true.
I think Nick was with Dan one night, like a bunch of people are out, either seeing a show or something, and Nick leaves me a voicemail, but it's Dan Rosler. And
The
he called
6
me,
Strings of Sadness.
yeah, he,
Yeah,
gave me
I
he
remember.
called me an Albanian
We
pool
were outside
dancer,
the
among
Keys.
other things, and 6 Strings of Sadness, which became a nickname for like a good few years.
It was a
He
show
did
of
he
some
did
sort
say
of
that
Keys.
actually, 6 Streets of Sadness.
Fantastic.
Of course he did.
He threw it in there.
Dan keeps saying he's gonna come visit me on the 5th floor of the Times building. He never does.
Oh, he needs to because he's
busy.
over there
He's
now,
doing
right?
he's
Isn't he
doing
working?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's got dad life,
He's
man.
doing daddy
You
life.
can't mess
He's
with dad
also a
life.
reporter.
Well,
He's
this is true.
effectively Spider-Man. So.
All I have to do is take an elevator up like 3 floors.
Oh, well, then he's got no excuse.
And then I saw him at a summer kickoff party at the building. I saw him from afar, and he turned the other way.
Yeah, he just ducked
That's
and
not
ran.
really true. But we were in the same room, but we didn't speak.
It'll have when the time is right.
Yep.
Dan Rosler will come.
Will
He
to
will
you.
appear.
Yeah.
He'll appear.
He also added this half of the Raph Scott persona is well spoken and handsome gentleman. True story. The inspiration for Jesus was a Jedi which is a Fire with Friends song, was Raph arm wrestling himself, Scott, in a cottage filled with large people and lightsabers. Once again, as reported by Infowars.
This is
I love it so
amazing.
much.
I didn't know that. That's good to know.
Yeah.
And Mav Walsh asks, is the
Mav. It's Maeve, and he calls her
Maeve?
Mav, and that's
No,
the
it's
first.
Mav. It's Mav. It's on record. Mav.
Mav,
It's
that's
Mav.
great.
Is that beer good, by the way? Yes.
It's
quite
wonderful.
good.
All of
Oh,
them. Were
yeah, they
good.
really are. They're knockouts, man.
I'm not even a beer
SBC
guy,
all day.
and they're all really good.
Yep.
That's what your wife said too.
What's that?
Yeah,
Sorry, I was reading through the comments trying to pick a couple. Ian Zuckerman says, "What's up, gents? Wish I could make your last show, but I'm sure vids will be popping rock on studs. So hopefully we will be there streaming some of this stuff too. So you'll be able to see some of it on our Facebook.
You have
page
to.
as much as I
Yeah,
can.
we're actually
I'm not
going to
gonna
stream
be
to
in town.
Infowars directly.
Oh yes.
I know Alex Jones personally.
I feel like any pictures of Raph or Scott that are tagged the name should be flipped.
Absolutely.
entire night.
Yep.
It'd be fucking fantastic.
Well, Scott and I have like talked about in passing the idea of like, especially when we played with Fire Friends a lot, just switching spots for one night and seeing if anyone noticed.
Everybody
Oh
would
my
notice. You're
God.
You're 9 feet tall.
Well, Scott and I even have like really similar voices. It's
Yeah, you
it's
do. You guys
fucking
yell.
Yeah,
the
but
same.
I feel
Yeah.
like with hoods up, you know, they
Well, there was one time where, and sorry, Mary, for telling this
No, white
story,
hood.
but his fiance Mary had like she was walking outside. I think she was a little like half in the bag, but I was like walking around with the hoodie and glasses on, and she was like, she walked up to me thinking I was Scott, then like
Grab your dick.
almost like last minute realized she was like, oh God, I thought you were Scott for a second. That could have been very bad.
well,
What are you talking about? I am Scott.
that
Hashtag
relationship's
me too,
ruined
Raph.
tonight.
No, Mary. The story.
Way to
we
make
all still
Friday
talk about.
awkward.
Yep.
My whole life is awkward. It's just a string of awkward moments, tethered together by occasional greatness and mostly loud noises.
You and loud
Sounds like
noises
my
go
life,
hand
too.
in hand.
Yeah, usually whale noises, unless people let me play drums.
Oh
And
God.
listen, I made up for it. So, story time. One of our first shows, Dave, out of a sudden, like doesn't miss shows and just got really sick, like last minute. And we're like, shit, what do we do? Because we were supposed to play clam stoppers or something.
Clam diggers.
diggers.
Clam diggers.
Yeah.
Dixon City.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, well, fuck it. I kind of play drums too. I can fill in, whatever. I wrote half these songs. It's fine. And at the time, like, Joe Terry and Mike Trachetta from Ion, like, filled in for us a lot.
Joe did. Mike never did.
But Mike is Mike and could learn my guitar parts because they're way juniorly compared to what he plays.
So we gave him a reasonable 3 hours to do so.
Yeah, and gave myself a
Put him
reasonable
on
3
stage
hours
with
to,
us.
like, play drums without a drum set and just kind of, like, hope that I remembered how to physically do it. And we get there, and the drum set just scares the piss out of me because I'm used to, in drum terms, like 1 up and 2 down, so a rack tom and 2 floor toms at most. And just like 3 cymbals, and I'm good to go. That's all I ever need in life. That's all I ever want. Anything more than that, I'm scared. So, of course, there's 2 snare drums, 2 kick drums, 3
6
rack
roto
toms, 6 roto toms,
Yeah.
3 floor toms, more cymbals than I can count. Bunch of like little skull guys hanging out too. I was like, what the shit? I think they were wind chimes.
Yeah.
They're probably wind chimes.
Awesome.
And
I
Mike
was
from
just
Ion
like-
Attraction looking at the set list and going, which one's that? I'm like, oh no.
So we get through the set, and
Oh.
like realistically, it probably wasn't awful. I know it wasn't good,
It
but
was awful. It was
but I have
definitely
this
awful.
tendency to really be
Not because of them or
Yeah.
you, just it was just a bad
But
idea.
naturally, I took that as I'm the worst thing to ever happen to music. So like I hid for an hour and just was completely inconsolable. And like I carried this grudge for like 5 years. I was like, I will play drums at a Silhouette Live show and I will do well.
And I will redeem
Did
it.
he do that?
Yes.
Yeah, the one
When
shiny
Shiny caught a
took-
drumstick to
Yeah,
me.
when he went full Skyrim on us.
I understand.
We got a phone call when Shiny was in the band for like the last year of the band. Our friend Shiny from The Way and now Kali Ma and the Garland Arms was drumming with us. And we were supposed to be playing the V-Spot. And I think it was for the music conference, right? For Electric City.
No,
Wasn't
it
it?
sure was
Oh,
not.
thank God.
It was for something. It was for something. He called us like an hour before, and apparently he had gone and seen his brother's band, who's now the Cryptid.
Mhm.
I think they were going by a different name at the time, and he went because it was his brother's band, and the drummer he had like either taught how to play or like
Giving drum lessons
Yeah,
too,
gave them
something like
lessons
that.
too.
Yeah.
So they finished their set, and the kid threw drumstick out in the crowd and nailed Shiny directly in the eye, and he needed like eye
I
stitches.
remember that.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah,
Couldn't
so-
wear his contacts. Some sort of surgery was involved. It was
So
a rough
it's
time
like
for him.
if you can picture like after that the Clam Diggers train wreck, and now it's 6 years later, and Raph's just sitting there like, I can do it. I'm like, I
I've been
don't
training
know.
for this my
Like,
whole
we can
life.
just play acoustic. He's like, we don't have to play acoustic. I can play it. I'm like, "Ah." And he did, and it was good. Well, we did like I think we did like maybe 30 minutes acoustic, then we did like another 30 maybe 40 minutes with you playing, and it was good. It wasn't even like it wasn't fine. It was good. It was a
Yep.
really good show. So he got what he wanted.
Yes. And then I was
And-
like, fuck this band, I'm out.
And
I
Shiny,
was gonna say, and then a week
and
later.
Shiny recovered quickly and didn't go blind, and that was awesome too.
Yes.
Everybody wins.
Yes.
Shiny didn't go blind.
That would have been really
There's
unfortunate.
your Hollywood ending.
So we do want to talk about your current band as well, a little bit. So how is it transitioning from what you guys did in Silhouette Lies to what you're doing now with Dancehall Devils?
It's a completely different thing. Like right off the bat, like the length of sets was like the one thing that kind of intimidated me. Like me and Kevin Stone, my guitarist in Dancehall, had jammed a couple years ago and talked about putting together a cover project just for fun, and it didn't work out. We both had, like, he had Blind Passenger, I had Silhouette, and it didn't really work out. And then kind of coincidentally, like right at the same time that Silhouette was kind of dissolving and Raph like got the job and like we were all trying to figure out what was next, he kind of asked me again, and Dancehall had already been playing for about a year. And they just got John Hazowski on bass, just got Jerry on drums, and we're kind of trying to fill it out and do more with the band. Asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was like, I don't know if I can. I'm used to singing, a maximum of an hour set with Silhouette Lies where I'm dead by the end of the set and can't talk the next day because I'm screaming like an asshole every night. I'm like, I don't legitimately know if I can sing 35 songs a night, but started jamming with them. And it was just a blast right off the bat. And the music we're playing is, like, nostalgic for me and for all of us, like, kind of high school, Taking Back Sunday, Fall Out Boy, Blink-182, all that kind of stuff. And everybody loves it. Like, the crowds are always, the people who come out to see it are singing every word, dancing all night, like, just having a great time. And it's completely different. It's not the same thing as writing your own songs and having somebody sing it back to you. Sure. You're up there singing somebody else's songs, but it is a whole lot of fun, and I think most of it is my bandmates, and I've known these guys from their original projects, and the old stigma is kind of like, oh, well, you're in an original band until you get close to 30 and then you start playing other people's songs. And it's like, I was kind of on that wavelength too, but we're having a really good time, and it gives us, like, we still all have the opportunity to write on our own, and, like, I'm sure it won't be the last you see of me doing original stuff, but in the meantime, it's a really good time. We have a really good time every time we play, and so does the crowd, so it's completely different, but it's been a whole lot of fun, so I don't regret it at all. So it's been cool.
John's
We're playing.
in what, like 8 bands now?
4?
32. I think it grows exponentially by the minute.
It does.
Just keeps going.
Dancehall Devils, Permanent to University Drive.
Fire with Friends.
Fire with Friends. Yep, 4. That's a whole lot of bands.
Yep.
Like, what days can you practice? He's like, none of them. Fair enough.
Tuesday of 2020.
Yeah.
Book it now.
Speaking of which, we should have some new music from Permanence coming up on the site soon.
Ooh, fantastic.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I swear to God, if they're not the songs I already know, I'm going to be mad at Scott. You hear me, Scott Jordan?
Just tag Raph in that.
Did you hear that? Me.
Hey,
Coming
me.
for you, me.
Rich will appreciate it. It's like,
It's getting
I don't know,
good.
which one's the Ben Riley? Maybe I'm the Ben Riley to his Peter Parker.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. Or I mean, now it's like super complicated. Now there's the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
There's like a million Spider-Man.
As much as I love it, we're not getting there.
Yeah. No,
We can't touch that. We're already over time.
Yeah.
You can't talk about
Having too much fun. No more Spider-Man talk.
Spoderman.
We'll save that for another show. You guys indulged me last year with the Star Wars podcast. So,
Thank God I missed that.
yeah, you missed
Aw.
Actually, I do remember, I forget which publication it was at the time, but one of the first interviews we had, I think it was you, Nick, and I, maybe Eric was there too, and we definitely had a lengthy comic book chat.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It might have been Go Lackawanna days.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Orange
think it
Blue,
was.
right? Yeah, go Lackawanna.
We met up at Northern Lights, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Seems like a lifetime ago, isn't it?
Yeah, really.
It's only just a few years, but time goes by so quick.
It does.
We want to make sure that we plug this weekend.
Yes.
She's the one, a weekend for Doreen. It's Friday, June 15th from 6 to 10. You guys are playing at 7.
That we are.
Friday at 7.
Saturday, June 16th, 2 p.m. till 1 a.m. And Sunday, June 17th from noon to 8. And there's over 20 bands. There's a couple of reunions, not just you guys, but a few others as well, including one of Ed's old bands, melded. So that should be interesting. And there's going to be raffle baskets, a 50-50, a festival shirt that you can buy. There's single day tickets or weekend passes. Friday and Saturday, or Friday and Sunday are $5 in advance or $10 at the door. Saturday is $10 in advance or $15 at the door, or you can get the weekend pass for $20. So make sure you stop by the Keys this weekend. We'll be there as much as we can. So
This is the worst weekend for me to be away.
Such a
there
great
is
music
so
venue.
much stuff going on this
Yeah.
weekend.
Really?
It's
No, my
unbelievable,
old
right?
roommate Josh is going to be filling in
With Down to Six,
Down to
right?
6.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him play out in like 8-10 years, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him play out, and I've like seen him at Music Around a million times.
Yeah.
I know he plays guitar and plays it well.
Yeah,
I'm like,
one of my best friends, and God damn it.
yeah, no, I want to thank Ed, Brad and Jen for putting this together. It's really cool. Like,
Really is.
Ed's definitely, I mean, it's been said a million times, a million ways, but Ed's definitely a pillar of this music scene, and seeing the scene come together in support of him. And I mean, Doreen was a saint, you know. I barely knew her, but anytime she saw me out, whether I was playing or just like in the crowd, she made a point to like give me a hug and talk to me, and you know, ask me how I'm doing, and you know, it just goes to show how great of a woman she was. And you know, Ed really didn't fall far from that tree at all, and you know, they're definitely a crucial part of this music scene. And again, it's just great kind of seeing how this is all taking shape, and I hope that Ed and everyone know that, you know, there's definitely a lot of love there.
Which Ed did comment and said, hashtag Johnny is bae. And Glenn Hoffman says supporting regional music is important. That's the whole point of why we're here.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I won't say what Hirsch said. That's just...
What to say?
You won't.
There you go.
You won't.
hear that one.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a lot of people would agree with that.
That they do you in a back alley with a walrus?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very desirable.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Goddamn Hirsch.
Unless you're not a Sox fan. If you're a damn Yankees fan.
Yeah, get the fuck out.
Oh, I should leave.
Well,
I am from the Bronx.
and on that note,
We just got the cue to wrap it up, so let's
Yeah.
wrap it up before it
Thanks,
gets
Holly.
ugly.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And thanks
thank
for
you guys
doing this
coming
every
on.
week.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's really cool that, you know, like in aspiring musicians or comedians or what. Shut up. People in the scene.
You know what he meant?
Yes.
The eye lock.
I'm trying to be nice here, and you guys are making me all frazzled.
I knew I shouldn't have made eye contact with the rap. It's never a good idea.
There is.
Exactly. But no, it is. It's really cool that, you know, people can get their start here, or you know, promote their stuff, and even the open mic. You know, I try to get there as much as possible, and it's one of the coolest things we've got going on right now. So I mean, at least me personally, I appreciate all the work that you do. So thank you, and I'm sure everybody else thanks you.
For sure.
Yes, thank
I
you.
love seeing this pop up like every week, and like a lot of the time, like sometimes it's people that I'm not familiar with or like don't know personally, but a good fraction of the time it's like either really close friends of mine or people that I know or go see all the time, but it's still, it gives you a different view. It's different than sitting down and just like joking around with that person or whatever. It's
Right.
it's really cool to like see it in a formal setting like this, or at the talent show where like people can kind of just like do their thing and not
Yeah.
really worry about it.
Absolutely.
And like it's like it's Tuesday nights, right?
Yep.
And it's like everything from music to poetry to stand-up comedy, and it's like everything's welcome. Nothing is everything's judgment free, and it's really cool.
And all
And, it's a
uncensored,
lot of
too.
fun.
Yeah.
All uncensored.
which is I mean,
Which posed a problem the one time we tried to move it from the Vspot,
Yeah.
if I recall. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
things happen.
You know, like everyone in this room, in this building right now, you know, like even off camera, I know, Rich, you've done more for a scene than like literally anyone, and I can say that and
Yep.
back that up with fact.
For sure.
Johnny, the fact that you play my music even though I don't live in the state anymore is really fucking cool. But, you know, like,
What a dick.
just seeing that, you know, there's someone who's still carrying that torch. 'Cause I know when I was a DJ at the U, I was like, I'm going to get all my friends' bands and, like, play their music. And it's just cool, like, someone with a little more bandwidth and outreach is willing to do that. I know people at Cool Creative and, like, Holly over there does a lot for the community. It's great that people here, like, still care. And I think at the end of the day, like, NEPA is a cool place, no matter how shitty it seems sometimes.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Thanks.
I think we take it for granted that there's so much good stuff going on here. And I was going to mention that as well. You know, thank you to Cole Creative for giving us the space every week to be able to do this. Otherwise, this would not be possible. So we always have a good time here.
Always.
All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope to see you this
Okay,
weekend.
thanks.
We've done 2 shows about it, which we rarely do anything, but we love Ed and we love this.
You know.
This lineup. So this was something special. So we wanted to do something a little more special for it. But hopefully we'll see you guys next week, 7 to 8 p.m. Here on Facebook. Make sure you share if you enjoyed the show. You had a good time and you like this, make sure you share it so that the Facebook gods will shine down upon us.
Goddamn Facebook blueprint.
And more so that, you know, Cole Creative welcomes us back.
Yes.
And Beer Boys gives us beer every week.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
seriously.
that's
Very
important.
If nothing else.
That was, I mean,
Very
it was
cool.
delicious too.
Once.
Salute.